Hang on. I didn't see the green light. Okay. Go.
One thing that surprised me, and y'all may have covered this, is the different little areas that have little docks around in there. Like there's one down at the end of Audubon and around in there, where you can actually rent those little slips that I was surprised to find.
You mean Galt Point? Galt Point has them. I don't know that
They're
Audubon does.
Well, it's down, you walk down around the corner is what I meant. And
Okay.
I was just surprised by
Galt Point
the
is
fact
for
that they
Galt
have-
Point property owners only.
Actually, they had, this may be different then. They were actually advertising in a magazine, and I went with a friend to look at one.
Huh? In
At
Galt
Galt
Point?
Again,
See, I think a Gulf Point
Gulf Point,
owner
yeah.
can rent out their slip.
Slip.
yes.
That might be.
That's-
Every,
I'm pretty sure
every
that's what
property in Gulf Point has
A
the
slip.
right to a slip, okay? And I didn't know that they.
Could rent it out.
I don't
Well, she
know
did.
if they can-
Yeah.
Whether she could or
Now, there's,
she
now,
did.
that leads us into another problem. There's been a, you know, as you probably all know, there's been backup of silt.
Right.
And so you can only get in and out of there at high tide.
Oh,
With a
that's
very,
terrible.
very,
Yeah.
no sound.
And the
nice
same,
slip,
the
but
same
it was
problem
friends.
exists in
You know, there are
Harbor.
villas in South Beach, Port and Lagoon Villas, and they're pretty unique in the fact that they do have a small dock system in the back just for those owners.
It's a day dock though, it's not anything that anybody can rent at.
Yes.
Yeah, day
Yes.
docks.
Yes, yes.
What is the current situation as far as the dredging goes in Baynard Cove?
Who knows?
I went to a
Harbor
session a
Town.
few months ago down at the association. I don't know. But it's a problem at South Beach, it's a problem at Harbor Town. And
There's big questions between the Army Corps of Engineer, what they're allowed to do, what they're gonna do with the dredge, and also who really owns it and who's gonna pay
Who's gonna
for
pay
it.
for it?
Because the Army Corps of Engineers says that it's private, and they're saying that it's not. And is that what you're gonna say, Barbara?
Right, well, and just in the paper this past week, they
Right.
said that it had been postponed, so just anybody and everybody who uses those little narrow,
Yeah.
be careful, that's all they said, just be careful. So you can just plan to get stuck.
Should we compare data then? Because I heard that in Calabogie that it was 20,000 per household, and that was basic to pay for the dredge, and that was to cart away the dredge.
Calabogie K?
Now, Calabogie K's already done.
They
that.
dredged
They've
several
already
years
done
ago.
that.
I know, but I'm just saying that's what I heard it was.
Okay.
Is that correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, because there was only one property owner on Calabogie on
Who
that,
declined?
on that. He didn't.
Yeah, thank you.
They
That's
have,
what I was
they have a site to dump the silt off island.
wondering. But you have to pay, the individual owners have to pay for that to happen. 20,000, I heard.
There has to be some mitigation too, I think, doesn't there? Doesn't there have to be some kind of trade with that as to, they can only dump it if there's something that is free somewhere else?
I don't know.
Well, strike that then.
Maybe.
They're saying that that's not environmentally what they dredge up here, even though you think it's ocean for ocean, it's not, that it's not environmentally good to be taking all that stuff and dumping it somewhere else. So I think that's part of the South Beach problem right now, that they've had a lot of environmental studies done and the privacy thing too.
Wow.
So who knows when that's gonna get resolved.
It's a little scary. What's in it?
Oh, I know what it was. They were talking about that this heritage, they were so sorry that nothing's been done because everybody brings their huge yachts into the Harbor Town Basin for heritage, and
They can't do it
a
this
lot
year.
of them are not gonna be able to make it this year.
Oh. Even at high tide, they can't get in?
No.
That's
just
too
no,
bad.
it's just-
Well, and unless they get moving, next year it'll be worse.
Right.
Right.
Question for you guys. If somebody's looking to buy a villa to rent, what, besides having a swimming pool, what are the other things that, are there certain areas that are better for rentals than others? And what are they, what's the best way to explain that?
The places, my personal feeling is anything that's along the water down South Beach, but also the run from middle, like the beach club into Harbor Town. Any of those clustered around Harbor Towns are considered good rentals as well. Also make sure to check, because there are a few sprinkled in there that they allow short-term rentals.
Yeah, near the
That do
beach
not-
or
a
in
few that do
Harbortown.
not?
Pardon me?
You said a few that do not?
There are a
allow-
few that do not. Mhm. You know, like Lawton Woods, everybody thinks, oh my gosh, that's only a couple blocks from the beach, wouldn't that be great, and they're reasonably priced. Well, they changed their covenants and restrictions about 10 years ago to not allow short-term rentals.
Which is why they're reasonably priced.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, that's why they're not moving up in price, is because they don't have rentals.
So can they
priced.
rent?
They can rent long-term.
And
They
what
don't have
is
a pool.
defined as
They have a
long-term?
pool.
6
Pardon me?
months.
6 months.
6 months?
I do believe it's 6 months. Lawton has a pool.
Lawton has a pool?
Lawton has a
Okay.
pool. Nice pool,
Very window.
in the shade.
So when you go in a house and it has villa towels in all the rooms, they're not.
There might be some
in compliance.
grandfathered, there could be some grandfathered in there still, but once that transfers, that'll,
And there could be people that are just flat out renting anyway.
Just do it.
I
There are
wouldn't
a lot of
sell it
dealers.
under those circumstances.
VRBO type thing, they just.
And they love to tattle on each other in there.
Do they?
They do.
The bike paths, did I understand you correctly, you saying that bike paths and seaplanes are not for use of short-term rental?
no, they can use for short-term rental. What she said is,
JP.
coming from Spanish Wells, I can't just decide to ride my bike into Sea Pines.
Oh.
Or if you're renting in South Forest Beach,
Right.
you can't bike into Sea Pines.
You can from the beach.
Oh, they have you, but don't get caught.
Yeah, I don't
You can, but now there's a lot more signage.
Is it?
What
Yeah.
if you pay the day pass?
Now,
Take bikes in?
No,
No.
That guy loves to stop.
Now, if I, as an owner, called you in a pass to be visiting me at my house, and you had a bike attached to the back of your car, that's fine. But to buy a $5 pass with your, no.
You can't bike in on a $5.
No, you can't bike in.
You see them stop,
No, already.
especially coming in Cordillo. They really like to stop you back.
It just, it would be glutted. There
I
would be,
understand.
they're already pretty heavily used. Yeah.
And you'll see people at the parking
Yeah.
lot where the welcome center is, taking their bikes out.
Anything else from anybody?
Do you know what facilities are going to be in the Plantation Club that they're redoing? Are they going to keep the fitness center?
They moved the fitness center to the Sea Pine Center where the old Acorn shop used to be.
For the time being.
Okay.
Oh,
For the time being.
I thought that was permanent.
I thought that was temporary.
Huh, well,
I don't know, who
We don't know.
knows? We don't
So
know.
the answer
So
to that
the
is,
fitness
they don't
center
know.
is in Sea Pine Center.
center.
You know what, call CSA,
Where our
they'll,
office used to be.
I'll check on it.
call CSA, they'll know what, they'll have to
Well, I
have
went
the
by there
plans
the other
on
day and the lady
file.
was at lunch.
Because by the Acorn, well, what used to be the Acorn shop at the Sea Pine Center, where Giuseppe's and Truffles are.
Oh, that's Sea Pine,
They,
okay.
yes, they moved the
Okay.
fitness center over there. My understanding was it was staying there,
Mm.
but I'll check to see. They're gonna have a new restaurant at the new Plantation Club area.
New clubhouse and locker rooms and whatnot, it's gonna be primarily a golfing
But it'll be
facility with
open
restaurants.
to anyone.
Mhm.
It'll be open
Too bad
to
about
the
that
outside
pool,
public.
It stinks, yeah.
That's gonna be tight. That South Beach pool already on
Well, talk about
Monday night.
Harbortown too.
Yeah.
You guys may have already covered this, so just tell me if you did, but are there any places in Sea Pines that short-term rent that allow pets?
Pets is individual, you'll have to call the regimes to check about that. So I'm trying to find out from people now, because there's so many regimes that are changing that, have changed that over the last 10 years to not allow pets at all, that I ask people if they're planning on bringing a pet, because some of them, most of them do still allow a pet for a property owner, but will not allow pets for rentals.
It's on the villa regime too.
That's
Yeah.
not right. Those
Well,
aren't right.
those aren't right?
No, those aren't
No,
right.
they're not right.
No.
And sometimes they'll say no to pets when
The
actually an
owner's
owner
allowed.
can.
The owner's allowed.
So you
The
can
owner
totally
can
go
have
by that.
The
I
owner
always
can
call
have a
them
but not a
anyway.
renter.
That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
I also give people the name of the bed and biscuit.
Right.
You got your dog? Let me tell you where you're gonna go.
Right.
Because they have to go.
But for some people, having, if they're buying, it's very important to them that they
Have
can
their
bring their
pet.
pet. So it's a, call the regime and
Yeah.
ask that, can an owner have a pet? And in some cases, there's weight restrictions, not as much in Sea Pines as other
A
areas.
number of animals too.
You're out of
I
luck.
can't go anywhere with my
You're out of luck.
Can I ask you this, are there any restrictions as a property owner as to how many pets I can have?
Within reason, no. If I had 25 dogs and they were barking up a storm, I'm sure I would get complaints and they would.
Okay, so there's nothing like, at Sun City, they have, is defined.
Wow,
Oh,
Two
yes.
dogs and a
Two.
cat or something like that, right?
wow. No,
Okay, just curious.
Thanks for asking that, because I've got somebody with 5 is what she's thinking
Yeah,
of.
yeah, we
There, there are no motorcycles
Yeah.
in Sea Pines.
okay. How about pickup trucks?
As long as it doesn't
No
have a thing
signage.
on the sign.
What do you mean a thing?
A sign on the
Sign.
side.
So if I have a pickup truck, can I park it in my driveway?
yeah, my
If
son
I'm
has
an
a
owner?
pickup
As
truck.
long as it doesn't have any signage,
Okay.
But if it does have signage, is it like Hilton Head Plantation, it has to be in the garage or not?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else y'all can think of that?
That's very good, guys.
Are there
Thank
other
you so much.
restrictions? You can't go with a motorcycle, can you drive in with an RV? Can you have a boat?
No,
in?
no,
None of that, right? It's all
no.
gonna stay outside.
And you have to be very careful about moving vans too. Make sure that you have that all set up in advance because they're very fussy about, tell your people, make sure that they have that all lined up way in advance because
Yeah.
security needs to get involved. They need to know if the van is gonna be in a place where it can move around.
They don't want it
Um,
overnight.
Yeah, they don't want them overnight, so.
Which leads me to that question. In Hilton Head Plantation, sometimes if it's on a certain street, you have to park it down by the ball field and shuttle your furniture.
Oh dear.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of
I haven't heard of that
I
yet.
haven't heard of that.
I read that in the
I
paper.
can
but I'm looking
tear-
at it.
If you ever see in the ballpark, if it's gonna take overnight, you go down by the ballpark and you'll see there's moving vans down there. Well, that's what they're there for. And it's pretty scary. On that score, it's better to ask forgiveness. But do you guys do you have the same thing in Sea Pines?
No.
Oh, that's good.
I've never heard of that.
It's a nightmare.
I do have one question I didn't ask that I'd like to know. If I have a listing in Sea Pines and I want to have an open house, what do I have to do?
I don't see Pines as yet has any kind of
No.
restrictions for an open house.
You don't have to go through
No
the CSA or
You have to
anything?
reimburse the people coming in.
You could have the people that want to come in call you, and the owner could call in passes for them. But if it gets to be a big deal, they won't like it.
Okay,
You know, I've had parties at my house and I've, given a list. If it's up to 5 or 6 people, you just call it in. If it's more than that, you type out a list and drop it off at security.
okay. All right.
Alan, have you ever had a problem with all those open houses you've had at 147?
No, never had any
I
problem.
haven't either.
Do you
And
have
how
to
do you do the
reimburse
passes?
anybody?
How do you do the passes?
Do you have to reimburse anyone?
I never have, no.
Really?
You know,
I don't
I've
know,
found,
offer it. If they call me, but they've never called me.
That's,
And then I could call, since I live there, I could call them in a pass on
That's
my
good to know.
ticket, but.
So
they've
your
never even
open
thought
house
of it.
people are
really?
buying their
Oh, I
pass.
have to, thank you.
or they live in Sea Pines.
Okay.
I mean, there are a lot
I
of
would-
people that live in Sea Pines who, same thing is true in Hilton Head Plantation. Most of them are local people in the
I wouldn't
plantation.
just be calling passes in blindly for people because
No,
The
well, I
axe
haven't
murderers.
had to do
Bigger
that,
men.
but
they're coming
Don't
after
plan
Chris
to.
at the 2.0.
Only if they put a deposit down on the house, I'm sure.
Now you're tough.
Is there
How many money you
anything,
have in your pocket?
I'm sorry, is there anything else that y'all would like to know? Any questions, anything that you thought of that?
Chris put this together for y'all,
Yes.
so.
It was
Very
Welcome.
I would
Welcome.
like to have it emailed, though. I would like
That's-
to ask.
What Nick will do for you.
Nick,
Scan it.
Yes,
Yeah.
he can scan it.
Nick's
That
gonna,
was
download
Or
it.
you can scan it. and
Now I'm
email
gonna
it to
tell you the
yourself.
secret is subliminally, she has put her name and her phone number in here, so.
Yeah.
Now you have to search each page.
I should have
Yes,
turned
I
off the
do.
camera before you said that.
No,
Okay.
no,
All right, and we'll turn it off. Yes?
yes.
Okay.